This is Adrian. I hope you can see me okay. I'm charging up my light, my little circle phone thing, because I have to go live on YouTube. But before I do that, I wanted to come and share my Christmas story. Today was Share Our Christmas Story Day for the BWP celebration. And maybe I'm the only one that has a soft spot in my heart for my Christmas story. Hold on, let me get the light because this little black area here seems really extra dark without it. Give me a second. Give me a second. I just realized it doesn't make much difference at all. It makes me lighter, but it doesn't make the background any lighter, right? It's not. So let's see. Look, I'm just going to tell the story. So here's my Christmas story. Tell my Christmas story. When I was growing up, we were really poor, super poor. And my mom had left my dad, the man who I call my dad, the man who raised us. We lived in Camden, New Jersey, which was to this day considered one of the poorest cities in all of America. And my father was Puerto Rican, and or at least the man, I call my father Puerto Rican. And they used to just call us Spickaricans because we just didn't fit in, right? At least at my family parties, that's what they called us. And there was a situation where my mom caught my dad cheating. And it was pretty visible in the neighborhood. Okay, just so that you know, it was one of those kind of fights. The neighborhood got involved in the fight. And because there was a house full of kids, and it just ruined everything. So my mom picked up, and she had moved only about a block away from my dad. We could actually still walk to go to my dad's house. I think they did that on purpose so that we didn't all have nervous breakdowns when it first happened. But then something happened, and that was it. My mom was done. And I know we had gotten robbed. I do remember that. We had nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean that, because we had gotten robbed. We went out to a family reunion, or like 4th of July or something, maybe my grandmother's birthday. And when we came back, someone had stole everything out of the house. When I say everything, they even stole the contact paper off the walls. I kid you not. There was nothing left, nothing. And we had the clothes on our backs. And my mom called my Aunt Dot, who, rest in peace, Mommy and Aunt Dot. But she called my Aunt Dot, and she told her, of course, she was desperate. So my aunt was like, well, why don't you come to Baltimore and restart your life? So she took us. It was 3 kids and her. No money, no job, no house, no nothing. Just the clothes on our backs, and we moved to Baltimore on a Trailways bus. I'll never forget. We got there, we stayed with my aunt, but that you can only do that so long. And I guess after a month, my mom had to get a place. So she found us a little ghetto house on Stricter Street in Baltimore. I don't know if Stricter Street down where I used to be, I forget where we were, but it was not a good neighborhood, okay? I just remember that. I remember the schools that were near were 48 and 4. If that means anything to anyone from Baltimore, it tells you a little bit about where we were. And we were so poor on Stricter Street, though. Oh my gosh. We lived over top of this little store, and it was like a corner store, because there's always a corner store in the hood. Every hood I'd been in, there's always that corner store. And we lived over top of it. There was like an apartment. So imagine, I think it was like a 2-bedroom apartment with a bathroom and a little mini kitchen. That was it. And there were 3 kids, and we slept. There were 2 mattresses on the floor that my mom managed to get. And that was pretty much it. I remember I had a girlfriend that lived upstairs. I made friends with her, and she gave us soap and an old pumpkin that was starting to go bad, and taught me how to make pumpkin seeds with the pumpkin. And gave us, I still remember, it was Safeguard soap. How do I remember that? Because we didn't have soap. So I just remember there was one day we were fighting over the last spoon of peanut butter. I don't even know it was a spoon. We were just fighting over the jar, like just scraping out the barrel. We were starving. And there was a knock at the door. And we opened the door. It was 3 priests. It's like a scene out of a movie. And these 3 priests asked my mom, well, they had said, well, we're looking for, this certain family, but we've been going up and down the street and we cannot find them. Do you and your kids happen to need Christmas dinner or Christmas toys? And she started to cry. And so they brought in everything they had. Oh my gosh. We were never that poor again. I mean, it was like we had moments of poverty, but when I say I was poor, like to only have like some pumpkin seeds and half a Safeguard soap, we were that poor. My aunt just happened that same weekend. I think they might even have brought more to us because they had given us some food. I remember while we were still over the store, but that same week, my aunt had gotten a place on, I want to say it was Baltimore and Pulaski. Well, we ended up moving on Pulaski, but she was like off of Baltimore and Pulaski, somewhere around there, which is a little better neighborhood than Stricter was. And we moved there. She had the whole house. It was like a 3-story. And I remember we had all these toys. They had brought us like a Christmas tree. We had turkey and ham. And it was one of the most beautiful memories. I to this day, I still have this memory because we were never that poor again. We were poor. Oh yeah. I remember sugar sandwiches and mayonnaise sandwiches and syrup sandwiches. I mean, we had those days when we got to Camden. We had to go back to Camden later. But it was never like it was on Stricter Street. Never. Never. I would never recommend leaving with 3 kids in the middle of the night and going somewhere with no money. And back then, I think she probably got on welfare in order to get the place over the store. But let's say I think back then she was getting like 150 for 3 kids. And she probably was paying that for the rent, maybe 125 or 100. I'm sure it couldn't have been any less than that. So she had maybe $25 or whatever to feed 3 children. And there was never enough, never, until that moment. Now, I'm a little religious, and I've always felt like that was a religious experience. But it changed my life. It's the most beautiful Christmas of my life. I still remember the toys I got. I remember I got a Josie and the Pussycats record player with Josie and the Pussycats records. Now, y'all may not even know who Josie and the Pussycats are, but I remember who Josie and the Pussycats are. And that was such a moment in time. And I think I might have got my first, well, it wasn't my first Barbie, because I remember I had a lot of Barbies when I was with my dad. But I think I got another Barbie, and that was major. Like, for a little girl to get a Barbie, and the Josie and the Pussycats record player. Oh my gosh, it was like a big thing. I just remember it changed our lives. Like we just never really looked at life quite the same. Now we did end up going back to New Jersey, Camden, and we had another really bad bout. Now I guess I can say we were poor, but it was different because there was other things in the house. So it wasn't like we only had the bar of soap. But when we got back to Camden, we were poor again because again, she had 3 kids on $150. And I remember there was no food and we were starving, like starving. And my mom said, go over there to that field and you see this weed, that weed that looks kind of different. And I was like, yeah. She's like, that's called poke salad. Go pull up that poke salad, all you can find. Now, I learned later in life that what she was calling poke salad could have maybe harmed us. But my mom sat up there and cooked up that poke salad. And I don't know what she did, but that was the best. It was like made it like greens. It came out like collard greens or something like that. And we ate off of that. That was amazing. That is one of those memories of life that it doesn't matter how much money comes my way or how much success I experience in this lifetime. I will never forget those experiences. I will never forget where I came from. I think that Christmas, that taught me a lesson in life that's never left me. There was always that fear, and I'm always healing that little girl because that little girl went through so much. I mean, I later ended up having to go move out to my grandmother's house, and it's a long story. But that Christmas, man, that Christmas, it saved my life. So that's my Christmas that I will never forget. And of course, I had the Josie and the Pussycats record player. I'll never forget that as long as I live. It was magic. Magic. Anyway, this has been Adrienne. I wanted to come and share my story. And I invite anyone else who has a Christmas story, women of vision, the Christmas celebration women, please come and share your story so people can know your Christmas story. Everyone's Christmas story is probably different, but I just happen to have that one. Much love and light to everyone. And Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Bye.
presenting astrology and tarot readings for all.